What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is our review for the TV series Bojack Horseman, which aired from 2014 to 2020, 76 episodes long on Netflix. This is a show that the first 5 seasons were 12 episodes apiece, and then season 6, the final season, that was 16 episodes long. This is a show that I started in November of 2022, in the middle of the said month, and then I just finished it now, and I'm filming this on March 5th. Of 2023. So it took me about 5 months to finish the show. And for those of you that don't know what the show's about, I'll give you guys briefly the premise. I have it written down. The premise is that after starring in the popular sitcom Horsing Around in the late 1980s and early 90s, Bojack Horseman struggles with his deteriorating popularity, depression, addictive behavior, as well as monitoring all those people around him. This is a show that honestly, I heard quite a bit about for the last several years. I heard it was great, not only just as like an animated show, but also just a great show in general. And one of the big things about it is actually one of my friends, Mike, shout out to Mike, he told me that the first couple seasons are not bad, but they're good. But as each season progresses, it gets better and better. And then it's like towards the end of season 2, it hits its stride. And I have to say, that was definitely my experience. I'll just say this. Season 1, it definitely had growing pains. Like, this is a show that the first season, it's definitely more emphasizing comedy than drama. And I do think that it was kind of difficult to watch because you're watching all these elements and you're just saying to yourself, I see the potential here, but they're not fulfilling that. And so it's like, yeah, it's a fun show to watch. Like, it's solid stuff. But it's still kind of like, very light, and it's like, okay, but they're dealing with themes and messages that should be taken a bit more seriously. Then we get to season 2, and those themes and messages are taken a bit more seriously, and the quality, I felt, did increase. And then we reach the end of season 2, and that's when it's like, oh man, this is getting great. And then season 3, 4, and 5 are outstanding. This show is great, and I am happy to announce that it gets better and better with each season. And I have to say, this is definitely one of the best depictions of anxiety and depression I think that I've seen, other than maybe Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot did an incredible job, but Bojack Horseman is definitely up there. It just, honestly, it felt very therapeutic watching this show, and there were many moments where I did actually cry, which I never thought that I would say that about a show about a horse. But that's the interesting thing about this show. Like, one moment you're able to laugh, and then 5 minutes later in the episode, it's dealing with more serious things, and you can't help but get emotional. And that's what I liked about this show. Additionally, I also felt that with each passing season, there was more creative freedom that the writers had, and there's a lot of elements of certain episodes where it's like, wow, they were able to do that. That's amazing. Like, there's one episode in particular where they were able to just have it where there is no dialogue whatsoever, except for the very beginning and the very end of the episode, and it takes place underwater. And that whole episode is not only artistically incredible, it is also a punchline at the very end of the episode. Again, I don't want to spoil anything, but the reasoning behind the visual storytelling is in itself a joke that is handled very well with that last scene of that episode. It's great stuff. But there's also a lot of other episodes that are standouts where it's like, oh, wow, that's incredible that they did that. I especially liked how there's certain episodes that really get you in the mindset of the characters and, like, with how they're thinking. Like, there's one episode with Princess Caroline who definitely is one of my favorite characters. Princess Caroline is someone that, is always on the go. She always has so many things going on in her life. And there's one episode in particular where, as she's, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but she's dealing with a certain element of her life that is changing and has made her life even more stressful. And you see all of the different elements of herself dealing with all that, and it's very overwhelming. It kind of reminds me, honestly, of like Punch Drunk Love. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you've seen Punch Drunk Love, where it's like the character Barry Egan, played by Adam Sandler in that movie, he has so much going on, and it's like the score, the cinematography, it's all representing that feeling of being overwhelmed. And I just liked that. I liked how this show was able to tap into the emotions that the characters are feeling through the artistic merits of the filmmaking. And that's the other thing that kind of really surprised me, is that I remember when I was younger, much younger, I used to always say, like, with animation, you never really look at the cinematography. But honestly, that's something that over the last, 5-6 years, my opinion's changed, because animation is able to actually do quite a bit with cinematography. And it's something that's really impressive, which I also wanted to mention. I think the animation here is outstanding. I really, really liked the look of the show. It was always, visually pleasing. I also liked the intro intro. I thought the Bojack theme is just really good. I like the voice acting. I actually wrote down a lot of my favorite characters, which there were quite a bit, so I apologize. But I, of course, found Bojack Horseman interesting. I thought that what they did with his character was interesting in that, no spoilers, but the themes of accountability, wanting to change, the Me Too movement. There's a lot of elements in the show that are handled, and I think that it really does make audiences question their own morals and kind of really see the gray in life and how there are a lot of things that these characters delve into, and it's like there's no real answer. It's just one of those things where it's left up to the audiences, and also we see the characters also try to figure this out, and I think that it's very interesting. And Bojack Horseman is definitely a character that we see that through. And I will also say that this is also a great script in terms of all these scripts of the show, because it's not only the lead character that's dealing with anxiety, depression, and substance abuse. We see all those elements through all the other characters too. They just handle it either differently, or it's like a different kind of form that they conform to with handling that. I think a great character that really emphasizes that is Diane Nugent. I think that Alison Brie does a great job playing her, but we see that her as a character is similar to Bojack Horseman, but also very different in other aspects, to the point of where we're able to see a different kind of side of what the depression, anxiety look like. And then also, Mr. Peanut Butter is also a character that we see that he too also deals with those things, but he deals with it in even more different elements and ways than those characters. So I find that interesting. Gina is a character that's introduced in the later seasons. She's played by Stephanie Beatrice, and I think she did an outstanding job. She did a really, really good job, and I think the chemistry between her and Bojack Horseman really worked for me personally. Paul F. Tompkins, as I mentioned, he plays Mr. Peanut Butter. I really liked him, and his character arc was very satisfying. Rami Malek plays Flip McKiver, and I just think it's funny that I mentioned Mr. Robot earlier, but he is in Mr. Robot and Bojack Horseman, two of arguably the most experimental shows that I've personally seen, at least. So I just like the kind of crossover that he's in both. He does a great job. He is someone that his character I couldn't help but be both intrigued by, but also find a lot of the humor in his dryness of the execution of the dialogue. I really liked his performance, and then also J.K. Simmons plays Lenny Turtletub, who is obviously a play on the words of John Turtletub, who many of you will know directed National Treasure 1 and 2, among some other Disney properties. So he did a great job too. I really liked him on screen. He added a lot of levity to the humor, and that's the other thing I wanted to mention: the humor. The show does delve into a lot of, elements of more serious topics, and it's handled with aplomb. Really great stuff. But I also liked how the humor has many different elements. There's a lot of humor that's dry, but then there's other stuff that's, can be seen as raunchy. It's many different styles, and that's something that I really liked, because it kind of kept you on your toes. It's not something where each episode you're like, yeah, I kind of know what to expect. It's like, no, each episode brought to you, something unique where it's like, oh, wow, they did that. That was interesting. So overall, I was personally very much so satisfied by this show. I think it's a great show, and I think the way it ends is also really, really well done. Again, this show I can definitely see myself revisiting. Honestly, it felt very therapeutic watching it, and I think that this show, I feel like for many other people, might also be seen as that. And I gotta say, if you're watching this video and you haven't seen BoJack Horseman, I would highly urge you to watch it, because it is a show that, for me, definitely made me think. It's very thought-provoking. It's very well done. The animation is outstanding. Each season does get better and better, and I will say that if you are struggling with season 1, I get that. I was there myself, but stick with it. This is a show that went from me watching it on my phone on my lunch break to, by season 3, I was having to watch it at home on my 75-inch TV, because it was that engrossing. This is a show I would highly urge everyone to watch, and for me, BoJack Horseman, I personally will be giving a... But yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on BoJack Horseman. My rating might seem a little bit low considering how high I was thinking about this show. But again, season 1, in terms of the ratings and everything, season 1, the lower quality is what kind of ended up messing up the rating. The rating would have been a little bit higher, but again, that season 1, that growing pains, that's why the rating's a little bit lower. But anyways, guys, BoJack Horseman, did you like it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and what season of yours was your favorite? Very curious to hear your guys' thoughts. For me, I don't know which one, but I will say season 4, I think, had one of the best twists that I've seen in recent memory. It was great. It was great. So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on Bojack Horseman down below. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscription, notification bell, follow me down Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.